Today the deadline for the ultimatum set by the Turkish military, the mercenaries of Haftar and the Russian soldiers from the PMC Wagner expires so that they quietly and without excesses get out of the Tripoli and Tarhuni area. Until 10 p.m., the Turks withdraw their guarantee for the movement of columns from these points. In fact, we are talking about the withdrawal of all enemy troops, which were concentrated in attack groups, which were in the suburbs of Tripoli and on the flanks, in Al-Baytiyah and Tarhan. Now they have all taken off and are leaving for the south of Libya, about 400 kilometers from the capital. What happens next to them is not yet entirely clear. Perhaps they will evacuate further, or maybe they are plotting something, because there is no faith in the Russians and will never be, at least as of last night. Most of these troops left the indicated positions and even left Bani Valid. It is well known that at least one Panzer anti-aircraft missile system from Tarhan passed through Bani Wali to the south. Local observers could not establish the position of only one or two Panzer air defense systems that operated in the Tarhuna-Tripoli area, and everything else had already gone south. At night, a convoy of 323 vehicles passed through the village of Nesma to the intersection in Al-Batam and headed south to Al-Kufra. Meanwhile, there were reports that about a dozen Russian MiG-29 and Su-35 fighters arrived in Libya. They were recorded by both Turkish air defense systems and American ones. The Americans even saw them close and noted that the recognition marks on the fighters were painted over. Sources in Syria report that the vehicles sent to Libya are not part of the aviation group of the Gmimim Air Base, but arrived there a few days before being transported to Libya. It was there, in Gmimim, that Russian stars and other identification marks were removed on fighters and they flew over the Mediterranean Sea in the form of battle tanks recovered by miners from Donetsk mines of Ukraine. And it is precisely so that Russian propaganda provides information on how military equipment appeared in those guys whom Russia supports. This always happens with an impudent person, when no one made a remark to him, and he already loses any caution. Just what happened was exactly what Putin could not do. Indeed, right now there is a trial in The Hague, to pay off the resonance of which, Putin's Brotherhood pours tens of millions of dollars into the European media. But there it is no longer considered how exactly the Malaysian Boeing was shot down, but how the Buk missile defense system was in the very place from where the fatal launch of the rocket was made. And now, online, Putin clearly shows how this happened. And this is not about the air defense systems, let it be the Buk M1 or the Panzer air defense system, but military aircraft, some of which have not yet been exported to anyone. Moreover, if in the case of Ukraine you can still come up with stupid excuses, then you must fly to Libya over the Mediterranean Sea, where all flights, especially such fighters, are recorded by dozens of detection tools. That is, the transfer of aircraft is documented in such a way that any court in the city of The Hague will take it as evidence. Therefore, when the question arises there whether Putin could give the order to transfer Buk M1 to Ukraine, the answer has already been received. He had just given the order to deploy the latest fighters, and as on Bucha, the markings were smeared there, so Vladimir Putin can start drying crackers in his bunker. It's time.